So let me ask you something. So why would I give someone that's in their head something else that's made up in their head to alleviate something that's in their head in the first place? What's the value of that?
Well, I get the value is that, let's say somebody comes to me and they're traumatized because their mum died 3 years ago and they can't get it out of their head, or they were abused by their dad when they were a kid, and they just can't stop thinking about it. Then by enabling them to think in a different way, or NLP term now, reframe it so they can see it from a different perspective, it takes all of that pressure off, all of that weight off their shoulders, and suddenly they can move forward with their lives. That's really what I do. And so sometimes the client, even though I can help alleviate that, I still don't really know what life is all about. I have a good understanding. I'm enjoying my life. I'm very, very fortunate, but I guess I'm still looking for those answers so that I can really help people enjoy their life to an even higher level.
I love that, Paul. I'll give you my biggest insight, since you brought up NLP and reframing and Richard Bandler. Do you want to hear when I actually figured out what the principles are?
Yeah. I'd love to. Thank you.
So Richard Bandler had an event. There's like 2,000 people in the room. I watched it. The time I had a DVD. This gentleman gets on stage, and he's a business guy, and he's talking about how he's depressed and he's got anxiety from work. He's a Fortune 500 CEO. And Richard Bandler points behind him and says, if there was an ugly picture of something really ugly on the wall, what would you do with it? And he would say, well, I would remove it. And he goes, see, it's as simple as that. That's what NLP does. It removes, or we can reframe or pre-frame or add colors to the photo or make it, look like a clown. And that's what NLP does. It's just the idea of NLP, right? And so everyone was like, yeah, see. And so then he went to go on to do a technique, right? An NLP, reframe, pre-frame, whatever, all the stuff that I used to do as well. And it hit me one day. What if we just tell him that's a fucking photo? Like, what if we, instead of try to change a photo that's on the wall, like your Buddha behind you, and go, okay, let's put lipstick on that Buddha. What if I just said, hey, Paul, why are you so afraid of photos behind you? Like, what would that do if you actually went, wait, this whole time, every time I walked into a room, all I was afraid of was a photo of a Buddha? Like, that would be tremendously more impactful than constantly going to each room and refixing photos on the walls. See, that's what NLP does. That's what traditional coaching does. People come in with their photos. We go, ooh, that's a scary photo. Let's change it. And so, tomorrow they come in and say, well, okay, thanks for I showed you a picture of my job and you made it now look like a circus. Here's a picture of my wife. We're having a bad day. You need to change a picture. But the thing is, wouldn't it be more liberating to go and say, Paul, you're just bringing in photos. At some point, you're going to have a realization that photos aren't scary. See, when you're telling me, well, what do you do with people that have had a really bad childhood and they were abused when they're young? It's now a photo of their mind. As much as you want to make it sound as scary as it is, it's no longer happening. It's not.
Yeah.
As bad as it is, it's not happening anymore. Now, what they're actually doing, which is even worse, is they're bringing a photo that doesn't even exist, and you're going to give them markers that don't exist to pretend to make this photo that's no longer here look like something different that doesn't exist either. So now they go home feeling better for something that never existed in the first place, which is thought. So all we're doing is we're coming in, making them draw markers in the air because there's nowhere to draw it for a picture that's in the mind that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Now, wouldn't it be more valuable to just simply show them that there is no marker, there is no poster or image on there's an image that looks real for that moment, but if you look around, where is it?
Yeah. So do you coach in that way, the way you've just explained it to me right now? Because I absolutely resonate with what you said, and to a certain degree, yeah, that was an insight. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting exactly what you say. So do you coach in that manner? Do you explain to people that, hey, it's just in your head?
Well, so I don't say it's just in your head because it's real for them, right? Like,
Yeah.
how terrible would it be if someone came and said I was molested when I was 9 years old, and I say it's just in their head? And the first thing I do, and this is where it's important, how I coach is compassion over conceptualizing. Most people, when they work with people, they hear I was molested, and immediately they're going into concepts. How can I reframe, preframe? To me, that's borderline disrespectful because you're too busy trying to fix them when you're not even with them yet. Compassion is going with them and saying, I'm sorry you're still experiencing those experiences. Number one, before we even get to coaching, let's start with having a humanity space. Most don't. They want to get right into, okay, here, bring your picture. Okay, it's like, wait a minute, hold on. This is a human in front of you. That's one of the things the principles have taught me, is we're all living in a thought experience. And when thought experience looks terrible, boy, is it a shitty day for us. And so because of that, I can have empathy for the person across the street, across the table from me. And it slows me down to connect with them from a human point of view, not from a coach-client point of view.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't coach. I sit with someone and have a human conversation with them, because you know what's missing in coaching is the humanity part. Go look at every single Facebook post you see, how to get clients in an hour, how to make $1,000. No one ever fucking said, how about, hey, you really want to help this person instead of the money, right?
Yeah.
It's immediately like how I can have a 6-figure coaching.
Yeah.
It's like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And so, and to your response, you said, oh, do you do that with your coaching? You right away want to get into the concept. Well, do you do that? It's like, well, wait a minute. Did you just hear what I said? Like, don't get ahead of the game yet. Like, what I just said is fucking really, really important. That if they know that that thing on the wall is not really something to be scared of, that will change their life. Now, will I say that in a coaching conversation? In 100 different ways. But I won't know until that love comes into the room, so we both are sitting in a connected space.